So in here, we've got a couple of new watches from a brand that just seems to be getting better and better, at least from a design perspective. And that is RZE. They actually contacted me about a different upcoming release. And when I was browsing on their site, I just saw these. And I was shocked that no one had at least taken a closer look at them, or at least very few people. Because I think at least one of these may be a bit of a hidden gem. So yeah, let's get them open and I'll run you through the details. Now, I've opened the bag, but I haven't actually unboxed them properly or anything. Now, to clarify, these are both like ex-demo models, essentially. So they may have a few more marks than a brand new model, but I think for the most part, it'll give you an idea of what these are. Now, the packaging may also vary. Not sure if this is exactly what you get with each. I have no clue which one is in which, so I guess we'll just start with the left one. Okay. There is watch number 1 and watch number 2. But yeah, here we have two pretty new field watches. We have the Valor on the left and the Urbanist on the right. I'll leave a link to both of these watches in the video description for your convenience. And instead of like a typical affiliate link, we've actually got something really cool going on at the moment with RZE, where they're going to donate a portion of any proceeds through my links in future towards a local charity that's near and dear to my heart. And it won't cost you any more, which is the best bit of it all. So I really appreciate RZE for suggesting that idea. But either way, I'm going to try my best to still give you my honest thoughts about these two watches. And at present, I'm just waiting for an email reply from them. I'm going to assume these are just loaner units, but if it's anything different, I'll put that in the video description too. But I really wanted to take a look at these because I think they're both pretty good looking, especially this one on the right. But this left one also has a couple of party tricks, which I'll show you in a minute. And both of these are like kind of press sample or test sample units. They've been using them at some of the watch fairs, letting people do a bit of a torture testing and wearing as well. But they're still in very good condition, as I suspected before receiving them. And that's because they're both using their special Ultra Hex coating. So they're actually both titanium watches, incredibly light, even the automatic here on the left, but they've got a near impervious coating on them. And I know it's near impervious because I've actually tested it. I scratched one of their Ultra Hex watches as part of that big scratch test roundup that I did, where we essentially scratched almost every single watch case material. And this was one of the very top performers. It was by far the most scratch-resistant titanium watch, and it beat virtually everything outside of ceramic, so it really is the real deal. Although both of these watches do still have a bit of that matte, like gunmetal finish. You know, it's not the typical kind of stainless steel silver look, which I have seen achieved by one or two other brands with titanium, so you don't quite get that here, but it is near indestructible, it seems. Now, straight out of the gate, this one on the left, which is the Valor 38, I think they call it, feels like it's exactly halfway between the Boulder Venture and one of the Loris field watches, which are both two good watches in their own right. Now, part of that is because one of the RZE founders was actually a co-founder of Boulder themselves, so there's probably always going to be a shared design language there to some extent. You can see here with this very angular case, and just like the numeral selection and everything, it is pretty similar. But yeah, it's also got that kind of yellowish dial. I'm running through the specs and colours on this one, because this one's actually the calcite version. That's what they're calling this. Off-white, yellowy white. Starts at about $359 US, but you can get it slightly cheaper actually if you buy the eco version with less packaging, so that's pretty decent. You can get it for $20 cheaper. The specs on this, it's got that solid titanium Ultra Hex case, which is very, very nice. Inside is a Seiko NH35A movement, so very popular movement in there. 100 meters of water resistance. They're even mentioning here that it's got a Viton gasket. Not really heard of that before, but seems that they're more confident in that water resistance rating than others if they're going to talk about that. We'll say that the crown is extremely grippy. Looks a little bit like a hedgehog there, but it certainly works well. It does have that screw down functionality. The bracelet here is a fully Ultra Hex titanium bracelet as well, so that should hold up pretty much as good as the main case. And the whole thing, yeah, even this section here of the clasp is all titanium from the feeling of the texture here. Does capture one or two fingerprints, not much, but definitely a little bit. And a quick editor's note, something I didn't see the first time round was this. It's got a titanium hyper-adjustable clasp, which you can adjust without tools. That's pretty good. Now this watch does also come in other versions on straps instead. And I will say that this bracelet, it's not the best integration. As you can see, it's just like a generic straight integration. I would have liked to see something that plugged the gap, I think. It just looks a little bit like it's been latched on after. So I anticipate it might be worth going with a strap for this one. It would probably look better. But as for that dial, now that dial has this creamy colour to it because it's a fully loomed dial, which I thought was quite interesting. It's not often you come across fully loomed dials. So we'll be giving that a test towards the end. And it's also got a very nice black date wheel at the bottom center. I think maybe that 17 in there is exactly the same color as the dial. That's always nice to see. Let's check the sizes on this one. And we'll also check the crystal. I believe it should be a sapphire crystal on this. Yeah, with an inner anti-reflective coating. I'd say it's about average as far as sapphire crystals go. Definitely better than a few that I've experienced recently, but not quite as good as the coating on that Orient Star watch I recently unboxed. That one was exceptionally clear. What have we got here? Depends where you measure, really. It's got quite long crown guards, somewhere around 37.5-ish wide, maybe closer to 38. Bezel's 36.7. Lug to lug is 45.3, and thickness we've got 11.7. But I suspect it'll wear a bit bigger than that just due to the shape. It's got a slight barreliness about it. And there's a look at it on my 6¼ inch wrist. I'd say actually it wears more true to size than I was expecting. Wears almost exactly like a 38mm watch. I think the relatively short lug to lug distance helps with that a bit. And again, very, very light on the wrist. This is a watch you could forget is there. There's a closer look at it on my wrist. I really like how integrated the RZE logo is on this one. Takes that place at the 12 at the top center. And it just looks like an organic part of the design, as if it was always meant to be there. But yeah, still not 100% on that bracelet. I would probably have to change that out. I think there are options with a black strap, and I think that would definitely go with a two-piece. Watch is maybe a little bit on the thick side to get away with anything that passes underneath, at least that wouldn't boost the thickness any further, which I certainly wouldn't be doing. Legibility is definitely not going to be a problem with this one. And the finishing there is mostly just faceted matte finish across everything. I think with a different strap that could definitely look pretty good. Not sure whether it can match the other one. The other one is absolutely to my taste. Now this one from the marketing imagery seems to have been pitched almost like a field fashion watch hybrid, but it is substantially smaller, you may notice here. Now this one is the Urbanist. I think this color is Metropolis Blue, I think it looks fantastic. Very thin, compact. I just think the whole package looks pretty unique, especially when compared to the Valo, which isn't a bad watch, I don't think. But this one just looks really slick. And you'll notice a couple of other differences too. One of which is that second hand. Now you can see there the second hand is bobbing along 2 notches every couple of seconds. And that's because this watch is using a solar quartz movement, and it's been in the package for a bit, so it needs to be recharged. I thought it was quite exciting because, I don't know, field watches and solar just seem to work well together. And unlike most watches, this one seems to have the full trifecta. It's got that high performance case, it's got really good looks, and it's got that highly practical movement as well. Just have this unusual DLC coated crown here. Not sure whether this is purely for aesthetics or for function, but all of them, regardless of colour, seem to have this same crown, which I'm not sure if I like it or not. It does go with certain straps like this black one, undoubtedly. But I don't know, I think maybe I would have preferred that just being the standard colour. But even with that, I think this is a fantastic looking watch. This one's currently selling for a price of about $259 US, and it comes in a range of other colours too. This one seems to be the most popular. It's sold out at the moment, whereas a few of the others aren't. And they also do 2 other interesting versions of this watch with completely different cases, which I'm hoping to get my hands on at some point because I just want to test them out. They've got like a cream coloured one, which they're saying is made of Cerakote, which kind of looks like it's got the word ceramic as part of it. Yeah, and then they've got a green version with that Cerakote too. So how that compares to Ultra Hex, I don't know. I can't see it performing much better because this stuff's already great. As for the specs on the Urbanist, in addition to that case and that Miyota solar movement, it does have, again, 100 meters of water resistance. What have we got here? Yeah, we've got a screw back on the back. This one, I don't think is a screw down crown, though. No, it is just a push-pull crown on this one. As for the crystal, this is a sapphire crystal. It's raised all around the edges, like a faceted crystal. And it may just be the design, but I don't know, I feel like maybe I can see this one slightly better through the reflections. Maybe it's just the particular colorway. Apparently still has some standard superluminova, so we can give that a try at the end. And then it's got like a textured dial this time as well. And it does look good. It just, for some reason, especially with field watches, just makes them look higher quality, I find. So there's a closer look at the Urbanist. You see that textured dial there. And the crystal also really suits this particular design. Does stand proud of the bezel a little bit, which some of you might not like. But I think visually it looks good. And also this case, barely a scratch on it, honestly. I mean, it's been doing the world tour, apparently, this particular unit. But, yeah, it really stands up extremely well. This one ships on like a nylon band instead. Feels fairly good. I think it's actually black titanium hardware here as well, which is quite impressive. I guess those bits do match the crown in some way, but yeah, maybe would have preferred the whole thing more in the traditional setup. Let's get the exact measurements of this one. This is about 36.3 wide, very short lug to lug there, 43.2, and thickness, not including the strap, but with the crystal, 10.7, and then without the crystal, it is a little bit thinner, maybe around 10 millimeters. So not the absolute thinnest, but it still looks fairly thin. I quite like the bezel choice on this one as well. And there it is on my 6¼ inch wrist. This fits perfectly for me, basically. I think it's a really kind of refreshing twist on some of these designation designs. A lot of the other military style field watches all tend to look near identical, but there's definitely some different things going on here. Still have a bit of angularity to the case. I feel like the strap fits a little bit better with this one too. At least it looks visually better. Very slim on the wrist, even with this strap actually. Not often I can get away with straps that pass underneath because of my tiny arm. Now at present, I don't think there are any more sizes of this watch. I think it's just the 36mm. So if you've got a big wrist, unless you want a particularly small watch, you're probably going to be out of luck with this one. But if you've got an average, especially small wrist, I think this is a real treat for small wrists. Wears a lot smaller than something like the Hamilton Khaki Mechanical. And I don't think the price is bad either when you consider that this watch is effectively never going to age. Unless you smash it, you won't really be damaging that sapphire crystal. And that case is about as scratch resistant as one can get. So yeah, I feel like this is one where it'll just keep looking just as good as it does on day one. Really cool little piece that. I noticed that we've also been sent this strap as well. So we can have a test on the Valor before we test the Loom. Quick release tabs there. There we go. Oh, it doesn't fit. Oh, they've sent me the wrong size. As I said, these are kind of review samples, so we aren't going to be able to test that out. And then a quick close-up of the Valor. Don't think this one's a bad looking watch or anything. Just looks a little bit more vanilla these days compared to the other watch. The other one just looks a bit more unique. This looks a little bit like some of the other RZE watches that they've made before as well. Like the Resolute, was it? Quite like those, just a little bit of a different take on the design. This one much more of like a plainer finish, like a painted finish, but doesn't look as kind of ugly as the Loris dial paint that they use on their watch. That one really skewed the whole dial a certain way. The other colours, to my knowledge, don't have the fully loomed dial. They're more like this other one, where it's the more traditional loom setup. Now, of course, I anticipate the one on the right to shine better out of these two. They both seem to be pretty good there. We will see how long they each last. I'm also keen to see if the fully loomed dial lasts significantly longer than the much cheaper Loris watch. The fully loomed dial is good and quite clear, but I'm maybe more impressed with the blue one actually. I think the numbers on that one are holding on maybe a tad better there. Not the absolute best loom though. So that's your overview of the two new field watches from RZE. Out of the two, well, I mean, my favourite one is pretty clear. And it's not just because it fits me better, because obviously it does. I really just think that this is a great modern interpretation of a field watch. I really don't see many other watches like this with this shape and style. I'll leave a link to both in the video description anyway. Make sure if you are interested in one of these, that you at least consider using my cool code down there. It's an awesome little cause, you know, real good passion project.